Hello everybody, welcome here. Joseph, Michael Anton, Michael, second Michael and Claude. If you write something in the chat, Anja is reading the chat as well in case I wouldn't see it. So welcome to all of you. Okay, and I forgot something. I made some notes. I will just be right back in a minute. I hope that has nothing to do with the school kind of party here. Sophie and Evelyn in their school had a kind of barbecue to support, I don't know to support what, but they had excellent Belgian beer, so I hope you don't hear that and certainly don't hear that in my playing. So welcome all of you, and as people are dropping in, just some things. My laptop crashed, of course, this afternoon while I was setting up this live stream. So three webcams actually, and a microphone, and then my laptop suddenly crashed. So I have my second laptop, the one on which I normally work, and it's not that fast. So maybe, hello Kostas. So maybe you notice something. I don't know. It's just an experiment. And George is tuning in as well. Nice. So normally everything should be okay, but we'll see how it goes. I hope you enjoyed the Pachel bell for yesterday. So with Evelyn dancing, and tomorrow I will have an afterthoughts on that with some, as I will call it in the title, seriously undocumented and certainly not backed up by any source ideas on instrument choice. So that will be fun. I hope so. And so something I would like to, I come to another point. Some things that will happen this week. Arenbeek, welcome. And Even is here also. Perfect. So some announcement for this week, just very briefly, might be of your interest. Tomorrow we are going to record that little, you don't see it, the little fretted clavichord. Here is a chapel. For those of you who are tuned in, opted in for my newsletter, they will know it. If you would be interested in doing that, you will find somewhere a link to opt in for the email list. So there is a 16th century chapel not far from here, and Anja and I thought, well, the perfect environment to record a 17th century copy of a clavichord. So that's coming up. Friday actually, we went to Joris Potvliegen for some updates for the pianoforte. I know many of you have been asking to give some updates on that project, and the piano is really in an advanced stage now. It's not playable, far from, but it's really, I'm excited to share that with you. So I have to edit the video. Even Joris is saying some words on the video. Can you imagine that? Anja can let you know in the chat how convincing I had to be in order to make that happen. So that's exciting. This week I will be recording a new sonata, actually not a new sonata, the sonata that Kostas Papazafaropoulos wrote last year. A sonata really with the dimensions of a Beethoven sonata. Is a long piece, but very beautiful. So I'm excited to do that. And it's on my long list. It should have been recorded since long. So, and the last thing for the announcements, I got a question actually, and it was a very good question, and it fitted in directly into a project that I was thinking on making. Many projects, but one of the projects, and it was fitting in, somebody asked to give, if I would not have the fingering, or I would not know a score with a good fingering. So this kind of 18th century Baroque fingering, whatever you would like to call it. And actually that fits in the project because I'm thinking on publishing some scores, not only also from Kostas' work, but that's a project, long-term project, but also making my own scores in the sense that these fingerings can be available to you, and so making my own scores would allow me to do that. So that would be very exciting. And then also make some special videos only for that score that you can have access to when you have the score, and maybe even some manuscripts, I don't know, to make something special out of that. So that might be a side project of these live streams already. So what are we going to do today? A little bit the other way around, not starting with making fingerings. I will start practicing the first Sinfonia. We ended with that last week. And then I will practicing number 2, which is a new Symphonia. I haven't played it before. I have prepared the fingering before the live streams began. So that we're going to do. And then we will together control the number 5 fingering, which we started last week. And I finished that. I made my homework, so to say. And then we start with number 6. So I will share with you the way how I practice that. And by the way, somebody wrote me that the score is still somewhat small. That depends, of course, on the screen. And if you, I don't know how it works with the live streams, but it might be so that in these settings, the little gear icon, that you can tune up the resolution of the video. I think that YouTube is trying to keep everything at a low resolution, but you should be able to watch this live stream in high definition. So, and then on a larger screen than a phone or a tablet computer, you should be able to write the fingerings, I think. But there is a link in the description box that will lead you to the score on the Petrucci library. And there you will find, there you can download the score in case you would like to read it really close together with me. Okay, so I will be playing the first Sinfonia, and you will notice that the performance will be very flat because I'm not performing, I'm practicing, and that's a difference between both of those. Performing means that you're advanced, and that might not, that's not the correct expression. That if you perform, you are before the music. I mean, you know what's going to happen, so you lead the music, so to say. If I'm practicing, I'm behind the notes, so therefore the performance can be flat. And what I typically do is go over the piece several times. So I will play it 3-4 times. I hope you don't mind. And normally the piece should develop by itself. Okay. And I will not talk too much while I play. After that, I will share with you some ideas that I developed while practicing. Okay, there we go. A tempo might change also, so I can fluctuate. If I feel that I'm going too fast, I will slow down. And so it's kind of finding the balance. There we go. So, yeah, what should I say on this? So, the performance is rather flat in the sense that I'm not trying to emphasize things, but to be honest, and this, again, this is just the first impression I have sharing with you. This is a very, very difficult piece to shape, and I mean by shaping to give a kind of dimension, try a kind of three-dimensionality. You know, we've spoken about that quite a lot in polyphonic music. It's nice when you listen to that and you hear a voice coming, another voice responding, and of course on the clavichord that's the perfect instrument to guide you with that, because you can make different sounds, you can make different accents. So the whole palette, so to say, to shape that is there, but this is a difficult piece because you have these 16 notes continuously until the end. And so I was wondering if this tempo is not somewhat too high, because I don't know how it's with you, but I lose connection with the music after, I think, 7, 8, 9 bars. There's so much happening. So I wondered why I didn't slow down, because I didn't do anything to keep up with the tempo. So if I feel the need for slowing down, I would have allowed myself to slow down. So I'm just going to try that again, a little bit slower, and see what's happening. And yeah, that's one thing I have to share with you, this particular bar here. This is, of course, rhetorically spoken, a very important point, and that needs time. And in the tempo I was playing that, I felt that I rushed over that. So I'm just going to try it. By the way, this is a normal tempo ordinario. We've talked about notation, tempo ordinario, tempo giusto, so to say. So the ordinary tempo, that's a 4/4 bar structure in this case. There's normal 16th notes, no 30-second notes. Not a very dense harmonic structure, texture, so to say. So this is the tempo you choose normally for pieces like this is around 60. If it is an allegro piece, which Bach is not indicating often, you should feel it from the affect. So this can be a little bit more allegro affect. Then you can speed up a little bit, but not too much, in my feeling. So you can go to 72, 76, 80 maybe, some trio sonatas, so where the texture is really very open, you can pass 80, but it's in that circle of tempo choices. So this one, I think, is around the second. I don't know what tempo we had. So I try a little bit slower. But immediately what strikes me are the melodic lines. I don't know if you hear that, but left hand. I now start to hear the answer between. And that only has to do with the movement, with the tempo, so to say. I don't know if you feel that, but these bars now feel to me as a unity. Da 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 dum pa dum pam pam pa da 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 dum. It has time. What I sometimes do, and certainly did more than I do today, is take my metronome and write a metronome number with the date. So if I feel this feels right, this movement, I try to measure that. Not that you cannot do a lot with that, because it's not as simple of that taking your metronome and just typing in the number that you have written down and play it in that tempo. It's much more complicated than that, because that's to do with finding the balance between articulation, accentuation, and all those kind of things. But it's something, that's the only thing you can measure from a performance as a performer, so sometimes I just do that. Sorry. I'm speeding up a little bit. For things like this, jumps, I have time. Here's a difficult one. So I have the third finger on the B, I'm jumping to the fourth, and of course you don't rush, because if you rush, that doesn't work. And such jumps needs also to find balance. That doesn't happen overnight, that needs time. Also, this is difficult. You fall here. Sorry. This is the first beat. We're now on bar 11. There's a first beat, so a heavy beat, but at the same time, these lines come together. So it shouldn't be too rushed, and it shouldn't be too emphasized. That's what I mean. But at the same time, you have a strong beat, so it's difficult. We should do it again. Listen, we should find out if this C sharp and the bass works in this tempo. And of course, I'm not slowing down there, but what I feel now is that this just works, because I can take a little bit time off the tempo that I have chosen. Just actually I'm slowing down, but I'm not slowing down in the sense that you would perceive it as slowing down. It's not tempo rubato, but I can give a little bit emphasis on this C sharp, which of course is the dramatic moment of this piece. And also this gigantic line. Sorry, where are we here? Okay. I can jump in the left hand, for which I can take some time now. Also, these modulations have more impact now, I think, just by slowing down. This is quite dramatic. So this is difficult. clavicle spot. So yeah, George and Joseph, yeah, it's more breathing with the music. That's actually very accurate. Said what I feel as well. And you know, we should listen to it when this stream is on YouTube. I will upload it next week. What the difference is in tempo, and that might be not so big, but by just changing the tempo choice a little bit, the effect changes. This is now much more. It's much. It's less opening. I mean, how should I say that? It's more intimate now. It's weaker from effect, not weaker in the bad sense. It's more gentle. Just by changing the tempo a little bit. So what will happen now inside of my brain? I hope so. Is that this piece will develop automatically because we've gone through it, I've given it a thought, and now it's time to let it rest. So typically what I would do the coming weeks, this is different because we have this live sessions now together, I would play it in the same way as I would do it today with you, but you would see that the piece is like a compass. It's pointing every time a little bit better to the north, to the right spot, until the performance matches the effect, what I feel the piece should have. And on that moment, I can start to think of performing it. So it needs time. It needs time. Certainly these Bach pieces, this really complicated music. Okay, then we have the second one. I hope the position of the webcam here is okay, so I can leave it. And also read the notes. So this piece is new for me. I've played it a few times because I made a bit fingering for that. And what I'm going to do, and typically I'm doing then, is play it very slowly. And you will hear that probably the tempo is increasing because I'm performing more than I should. That's typical. I think it's with all of us. Okay, there we go. I have to say, when I have the jumps, so I'm just practicing now. When I have jumps, I try to play them as relaxed as I can. So, not rush. So I have in the left hand here on the E flat 2, then 4. I jump to the 2 again. So it's very, very clean. And it serves the music in a way that I just release it very, very relaxed, and I go to the A flat. When you play slowly and you practice slowly, and to be honest, I'm not doing it always in this ideal way. We all want to play music. Actually, we shouldn't, and certainly with this music of Bach. But when you play very slowly and you try to be very relaxed and make all jumps very relaxed, then you will notice that when you play it a little bit faster, this feeling of relaxation, which is essential to play, certainly on clavichord, but at any instrument, that remains. Because you're practicing the relaxation. this is a very difficult drill. Because in the right hand you have the drill, and then comes the other note. So that's difficult. If you have difficulties with that, I would just stop the drill when the right hand has the alto voice to play. And also things like that I will note. Of course that's a dialogue already. Ending of drills, which is difficult, of course, certainly longer drills. They need to be clean, certainly when practicing. And again, that's how I do it, because if they're not clean, the ending, 1, 2, 3, they have to fall right on the beat. If it doesn't work when playing slow, it won't work by itself while playing a little bit faster. Also, very relaxed, the drill. And typically the tension increases when the drill ends, because you know I have to once decide to end it, and that's a moment that needs practicing. You need to practice the ending of the drill. Then it's going faster than I can read, so I will avoid sight reading. So if I would be in a concert now, having to play this live, and it sometimes happens, recently it even happened that I was asked to play a bis number, and I never played, and there was no escape from that, so then I will sight read, and I do it different than now. But now I want to read every note. Because I have written the fingering, I can read the notes because I don't have to think with what finger I have to play. Beautiful passage here. You notice this line completely from up to down, from heaven to earth. That's a symbolic. Climbing up again. Team left hand. Now, this is such a beautiful chord. This is incredible music. Yeah, George, and it's that's the reason I started to play the long trills. You find some sources, but don't ask me why, where. No, you heard it correct. So the longer trills, when I was in Amsterdam, my teacher Jacques van Oostmessen called that organ trills, and I should look it up. But these long trills, like for instance in the Passacaglia of Bach, you have also these double trills. There are sources that they start with the main note. So that's one reason, and they work because they have a different meaning than shorter trills. When shorter trills played with the upper note, you have a kind of tension because the upper note most of the times is a dissonant with the main note, but here it's an ornament in the sense that it doesn't matter actually where you start. If you have in bar 7 the E flat, if I would start with the upper note, it's possible, but it adds something of a dissonance which you lose starting with the main note, but starting with the main note it's more like a relaxed ornament. So what I take from this first impression is that the affect of the piece is very friendly, very fragile, very vulnerable. So the first impression I would have as an articulation is not two pointers. No. I would play. But that we see how that develops. So, okay. Then, we'll certainly continue with that next week. Then we have the fifth one here, which we did last week. And that's a tricky one in the sense that there are a lot of ornaments. And we've talked about that last week, that not all ornaments maybe are meant to be played because we don't know which one are of Bach, and they added ornaments and they just changed them. It was normal practice. So the scores we have today, they have brought in all ornaments that these inventions and Sinfonias have, and so it's up to the performer to decide. Of course, we better take it serious because there are not all of them, but we don't know if they come from Bach or if they are a reflection of Bach's playing. But anyway, it shows us that we have certain freedom, and sometimes it's a little bit awkward in the sense that it just doesn't feel right on the keyboard. And here we are in E flat, and I just go through the piece briefly and point to some things that I find strange. It's a very beautiful piece. So the beginning, the triad in E flat major. On a clavichord it's impossible to play like on the piano. On the piano you play 5, 4, 2, 1. Yeah, you can't make tone actually. So I have 5, 4, 3 and then actually 2 on top. I don't think the tempo is too fast, because with all these ornaments and also the 16th note as a upbeat, it needs time. Jump. The A flat that has a turn, I just leave it. I don't play it. It doesn't fit in the fingering, so I don't see the necessity of that as well either. very strange Vorschläge actually. And here you have actually a mordent and a turn on this note, and you can play it both. So you have, or you play. Oh. Also here, sorry. I can imagine leaving out the mordent, so not playing this. Also here, you need a lot of time to play that. So. This is difficult. Play it again. And there I add a Vorschlag. I don't know if you have noticed this, but in some way or another this has kind of atmosphere already. And again, I haven't practiced this, it's just I've prepared a fingering because last week I think we only had this passage. So I prepared the rest of the fingering because I think but you should correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if we would make all fingerings together, this might end up being too long, and we're now approaching 45 minutes already. So I just prepared a fingering and I played this by just an idea, giving all the ornaments the time I would need to play them correctly. And just by doing that, actually, there is something that was there during this performance. I hope you have noticed that. And that's of course a wonderful thing when that happens. It's just a gift, so to say, because I will work on that feeling. That's a kind of first-handed impression of the effect of the piece, which again it's so difficult to express. Even in my native language, it would be difficult to really point what the effect is. And I often think in colors actually. And this would be a kind of light green with a touch of blue in it. It's very silly, but it's how I perceive that. So it really very easy to break, so to say. Oh, the trills, then these trills need to be perfect. Need to be perfect. it's wonderful, actually. And of course, the clavichord adds so much to that. Listen. So the color of the instrument, it remains in the same kind of, light green, light blue, whatever. So that same effect, but I change it when the kind of solo comes. Listen. And then the clavichord has a shorter tone duration actually than, for instance, the harpsichord. And even this instrument, which has about 10 seconds here in the tenor of duration of tone length, which is enormous for a clavichord. But even then, compared to a clavichord, it's much shorter. But I don't think, that's my personal opinion, that for polyphonic music, and certainly this kind of music where you have such a strong input of effect, being almost Empfindsheim kind music like Immanuel Bach would compose. There the instrument adds, and adds easily, more easily, because of its shorter tone. Because here, listen, I can wait. It gives all attention to the right hand. But this movement needs to continue, and of course it's way too fresh to do that. That needs to settle. That's better. You have this movement. So the tempo is important, but the movement is even more important. And that's a difficulty, but that needs time. I'm very happy actually with this fifth one. I didn't expect that this would develop during this live session actually like this. So what I would suggest is here in Belgium 10:15 that we just close for tonight. And next time we start with the Symphonia number 6 to really try fingering. But I hope if you follow these sessions a few times, making fingering certainly with this music is so beneficial. It saves you so much time, not only while practicing, but you have different layers. You have the understanding of the music. You have to be able to play the notes. It's not easy to play. And again, if someone plays the Inventions and the Sinfonias in one concert, it's really hard. It's really hard. So maybe the Inventions are even hard because you have two voices and it's really difficult music. And Bach is testing all kinds of effects on the keyboard player, and it's an upstep for the partitas. And in one way or another, sometimes the partitas are easier because you have so much more notes to play. And the more notes you have to play, the more notes you can hide behind. And of course, that's so different from that time, because in 18th century, they were not waiting for wrong notes, but we live in that time. And just by making good fingerings, you make it for yourself so easy just to continue practicing this in any ways you want. So next time we start with the E major, Symphonia number 6. Thank you, Josef, for the applause. And let's see if I missed some. Halil, yes, thank you for being here. So again, as last week to close, this live stream will go online perhaps this week on Saturday, so next Saturday, just before the Sunday. And if you have something to suggest or to ask or to change, or just so be part of this live stream development, as I told you last week, you're kind of experimental group, so to say. We're both experimenting on these live sessions. We have to find our voice, what is interesting and what's not. Maybe I can skip some parts, fingerings maybe, or just not. Just let me know, and I'll adapt to what you write in the comment boxes. Anyway, it was great to be here with you. I wish you a good night, and thank you for watching, and a good week full of practicing, dreams of the Bach Sinfonias and of that great music of that great composer. So thank you all, and I hope to see you next week again. Good night. Bye.